King of Pop Michael Jackson would have been the first live-action Spider-Man in a feature film instead of Tobey Maguire. In an alternate timeline, legendary pop star Michael Jackson would have been the first live-action Spider-Man rather than Tobey Maguire in 2002's Spider-Man from director Sam Raimi. Had he had his way, the King of Pop would have become Marvel Comics' premier webslinger, offering his own take on a live-action Peter Parker which would have likely been as iconic and unique as Jackson himself. While Jackson's dream of becoming Spider-Man never came to be, it's possible the MCU and superhero genre as a whole wouldn't exist had he succeeded as a consequence. So what happened?
I'd love to work together. As far as timing, I really feel in my heart we must move as fast as we can because on the film side of it, I don't know if you read the paper, but Marvel already have sold off their internet rights, and the fact that stock is so low now. I mean, they put out Spider-Man. Now they got Incredible Hulk coming. They got X-Men 2 coming, and they also got Spider-Man 2 coming. It's going to jump. It's going to change. I mean, and this huge frenzy for superheroes and this all the things that we can do. I want to get in before it gets, the stock gets, we're in a good time. We need to jump in now because the timing is perfect. Nobody's talking much about it, It's still.
Michael Jackson, the megastar and a famous comic book lover, decided in the 1990s that he wanted to play Spider-Man in an action movie, according to reports from as early as 2012. Stan Lee, the legendary creator of Marvel, confirmed this during the marketing for Marvel Studios' first Avengers movie, saying that Jackson believed the only way he could convince Marvel to hire him was to completely purchase the company. As a result, Jackson took steps to do just that, which would have seen him taking Tobey Maguire's status as the first live-action Spider-Man in a feature film.
He wanted to be Spider-Man, to buy the rights to Spider-Man. I think he wanted to play the part of Peter Parker. He never said that, but I gathered that. When I told him I didn't think the company would sell it, he then wanted to buy Marvel. He said, well, then I'll buy Marvel. I don't know what happened. I mean, obviously he didn't buy Marvel, but he wanted to very much. He came to my house once about 2 years later, and he wanted to talk to me about something, and he brought his little son with him. He was a very concerned parent. He had a little bottle with him, and he had all the things for the kid, and he really seemed, from what I knew of him, he was a hell of a nice guy.
Jackson's intentions were further confirmed in greater detail in a 2020 episode of Popcorn Planet where Michael Jackson's nephew Taj was interviewed. Jackson was apparently quite serious about purchasing Marvel in his mission to play Spider-Man, a company that at the time was nearing bankruptcy. However, Taj recounts that the negotiations fell through for reasons unknown, even with Michael having support from Stan Lee himself. In an interview with Popcorn Planet, Michael Jackson's nephew Taj Jackson revealed that Michael wanted to buy Marvel with Stan Lee and mentioned that they were talking and discussing it. As it did not happen, unfortunately, Jackson's nephew said. Taj further revealed that besides wanting to play the character of Spider-Man, MJ was a huge Marvel fan and mentioned he knew all the characters. So it was not only Spider-Man he wanted to buy, but yeah, he probably wanted to be Spider-Man.
It was Marvel. It was, and I remember that. I remember being with my brothers and him talking about purchasing Marvel. He wanted to do that with Stan Lee, and they had been talking and discussing about that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I think they were shut down from doing that. I don't know the reasons why, but they were adamantly in the process of doing that. So
like
yes,
it was close to, because there was a point where Marvel was out of money, they were going bankrupt, and what I read, Michael was a huge Spider-Man fan and really wanted to make a Spider-Man movie, and so he was going to go buy Marvel. So that's facts.
Yeah, besides Spider-Man, he was a huge Marvel fan. He knew all the characters, so it was not only Spider-Man, but yeah, he probably wanted to be Spider-Man.
During the interview, Jackson also admitted that he has a difficulty in picturing his late uncle playing the role of the superhero, but mentioned that he would be excited about it. Taj Jackson also shared that MJ was a huge movie buff and would love the characters coming together. It's certainly quite the amusing tangent to wonder what Marvel Comics and any future Marvel films would have looked like had Jackson taken ownership in the 90s. Going beyond Michael replacing Tobey Maguire as the first live-action Spider-Man, who knows if 1998's Blade starring Wesley Snipes would have ever been made, or what 2000's X-Men starring Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman might have become. Additionally, a Spider-Man film starring Michael Jackson would have likely been perceived as more of a vanity project for the king of pop and less of a foundational film that proved the success of live-action superhero films at the box office. While seeing Michael Jackson as Spider-Man would have been all kinds of entertaining as a one-of-a-kind film experience, it likely would have come at the cost of the MCU as it's known today. Furthermore, it's anyone's guess if Michael Jackson would have been able to save Marvel Comics from its bankruptcy. Needless to say, the entire movie industry would look quite different today if that sale had happened. Not only would we apparently have ended up with a Spider-Man movie starring Michael Jackson, but we might not have the MCU that we know today. Michael Jackson died in June 2009, 2 months before the Disney and Marvel deal was announced. There's certainly no guarantee that Jackson would have had any interest in selling Marvel at that point. Even if he had, his health issues and death likely would have derailed the purchase, much as Jim Henson's death stopped the sale of the Muppets to Disney in 1990. Of course, if we're playing the what-if game, we know that Disney at least floated the idea of buying Marvel years before the company actually did. Disney and Jackson could have found themselves in a bidding war, which certainly would have been interesting. Michael Jackson was a big fan of Disney too, even working on the Captain EO attraction in the parks at one point, so maybe, even if Jackson had bought Marvel, Disney would have ended up with the company eventually, but it likely would have been much later, delaying everything we've seen to this point by years. In any case, it's just as well that Tobey Maguire was cast as the first live-action Spider-Man in Sony's 2002 film, setting the stage for the success of the superhero genre for years to come into the present era. Thank you for watching this. Make sure you give a like this video and subscribe to our channel.